I've been asked by so many of you to do another ASMR video. This is an ASMR video. The goal of this video is to help you turn off the parasympathetic response. That is to help you self-regulate and to help you come out of hyperarousal so that you feel calmer, and to teach you how to do that yourself. With ASMR, the person pretends. They may role play or they may act in a way which is virtual. So it is in essence a role play designed to support your regrounding to feeling calm. So hopefully this will help you feel calm. Welcome. My name is Lauren, and as we discussed on the phone, this session is about supporting you. You've told me that you have your own professional advice, which is great. Good on you for seeking professional support. I'm here to support you, to help you choose user-friendly tools to support your self-regulation and to bring you out of hyperarousal. Do you know what hyperarousal is? You're not sure? It's when something has scared us. We've had a threat. It may be a sustained threat or a one-off experience. And our whole nervous system, our physical body, our conscious and subconscious state feels threatened and in danger. Our stress response, our fight or flight, has gone a little bit awry. Our sense of responding to stress, which is fight, flight, freeze or fawn, have gone a little bit off the charts. Now, that's okay. This happens. This is our body's way of keeping safe, but sometimes doesn't really work out. So today, I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to take time. We're going to have a soft approach to this, a slow approach to this, because this is about you and you matter. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to note down the answers. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Are you feeling okay now? Would you like a glass of water? A cup of herbal tea? If you don't mind, I'm going to have a coffee. I've got a French press here, which I absolutely love using. I'm going to have a coffee and I'm here to listen. Now, sometimes when we listen, the person sharing their narrative, sharing their sadness, their anxiety, their stress, your body doesn't know the difference between the sharing of narrative and the experience of trauma or sadness. So you can re-traumatize yourself. There are times where sharing is really important and it's worth it. There are times when it's not the best course of action to share your trauma again. I mean, you've been through enough, haven't you? So it's up to you to work out what suits you. You mark the journey here. You navigate. It's not an easy journey. I get it's not easy. I get that. But you can do it. Are you comfortable? Okay. Just pour some milk in. Settle yourself into your chair and we'll go through some questions and we'll discuss some strategies. I want this to be really low key. It's not going to be helpful to you if our strategies to bring you out of hyper arousal, our strategies to help you self-regulate, if they become stressful. The first thing here is to know that you come first. Your self-care comes first. And this questioning session, this session is for you to help you feel okay, because you deserve it. All right. Will we start with the questions? Do you mind if I record your answers? You don't? Okay. How are you feeling right now? Are you experiencing any signs of hyperarousal or dysregulation? What does that mean? Do you feel any heightening, any agitation, almost like you're a cat on a hot tin roof, or almost like having small electrical shocks? Do you feel any of that? As I'm asking you these questions, feel free to take a break. Feel free to say that's enough. This is not about me and my mode of coaching. This is about you and you finding your way. You are the orchestrator here. Don't let anyone tell you how to proceed. Deep down, you know the way. Okay, so you are experiencing some signs of hyperarousal and anxiety, all right. It's important to acknowledge and identify your emotions. So let's just name what you're feeling right now. Just tell me what you're feeling. Name it. Use raw language. Use brutal language. If you want to, you can swear. Say things such as, I feel. You can swear, I'm not going to swear. I feel exhausted. I feel distraught. I feel like I've had enough. Now, they're my words. They're not your words. What words suit you? And use some physicality as well. You may want to wave your arms. You may want to point to a part of your body that feels stressed, maybe your throat, maybe your brow, maybe you have headaches. Identify where you're at now, your ground zero. Watch how you feel also. This may be too much. We can take a break if you want to. Any physical sensations? How's your heart rate? Any tense muscles? How's your breathing? First of all, heart rate. Just notice. This is not about attachment. This is not about a right or wrong answer. Notice your heart rate. Now let's go through any tense muscles. Any muscles that hold any stress? Okay. And now you're breathing. Tell me, talk about your pattern of breathing. Now, I want you to observe yourself here. As you answer me, I want you to watch any judgment. Let's take any judgment you have about your heart rate, your breathing, and your muscles, rather than saying, oh, my muscles feel stressed. I want you to take that judgment and imagine that it's a pile of paper, and you roll the paper into a ball. You screw it up and you throw it away. Your judgment about how you feel, whatever you feel, is rubbish. You don't need it. The judgment doesn't serve you, and I want you to throw it up, screw, and throw it away. Don't worry about how you're breathing. Just notice your breathing. Don't worry about your heart rate. Notice your heart rate. Notice where your body holds stress. It's okay. You are the inquisitor, the investigator at this stage, researching who you are so that you can support and help yourself, because you are awesome. Okay, next question. Do you want a break or are you going okay? All right, next question. Now, this question you may not want to answer, that's okay. Remember, you know your journey. Any professional person is there to support you, but you know how you feel. What triggers your hyperarousal or your anxiety? Can you think of any specific thoughts that trigger your hyperarousal? Okay. All right, name these thoughts. All right. Now name the events that trigger your hyperarousal. All right. And name any situations that may trigger your hyperarousal. Okay. Now, I care and I hear you, and I understand that this is a physical response. But I want you to imagine the paper, screwing the paper up. The paper here is the triggers, the events, and the situation. Screw it up and throw it away. I'm not saying that I'm not respecting your experience. I'm saying to start to soften your eyes, soften your approach, and see these situations, events, experiences, thoughts as separate to you. I understand when it's said that these things are separate to you. It's kind of, in some ways, almost disrespectful, because these are triggers, and triggers are triggers. I get that. Your body has learned ways to keep you safe, and these are triggers. However, these are no longer keeping you safe. They are keeping you in a state of hyperarousal, agitation, dysregulation. When I say these words, I want you to be the spectator of the words. It's okay. Let's look down upon the words rather than becoming involved in the words. Imagine yourself as the hawk above. This is about you feeling okay. No judgment, no expectation, no brutality, softness. So we see the triggers and we screw them up metaphorically and throw them away. Why do we do this? Because in this journey of re-regulating yourself, of bringing yourself out of hyperarousal, it is the understanding that it's a physical response, and it's the understanding that it's turned on because the memories you have formed, are associated with a physical experience. So you see a backpack that reminds you of when you're in the war, your heart rate increases. You see somebody that looks like an ex-partner, you struggle to breathe. You see somebody that reminds you of a family situation, and one of your hands shakes. It's your body thinking. It's helping you. And indirectly, we train our bodies, and we can untrain them softly. The key word here is softly. This is about a step-by-step process to re-regulate you, for you to empower yourself to learn how to regulate yourself, to create and choose tools that support your regulation, your self-regulation, and you're taking yourself out of this hyperarousal, back into a state where you can balance your responses. It's not about being peaceful all the time. There are times we need to react to situations in a balanced and appropriate way. There's times we aren't safe. In these situations, it's the right thing to heighten, solve the issue, run away from the tiger, and then re-regulate. We need to toggle that button with your self-regulation and work it out. And we can do that. Okay. Is there anything in particular that has contributed to your current state of hyperarousal? Remember, I'd like you to see your state of hyperarousal as separate to you. Almost as if you're bouncing a ball and the ball is bouncing up and down, but you are the person bouncing. So see your hyperarousal as the bouncing. Just like we learn skills in basketball, we need to learn how to manage that ball and sometimes put it on a shelf and sometimes bounce it, dribble it, run up and down the court. When you decide to, the ball does not control you. You control that ball. How are you feeling right now? Notice your heart rate. Notice your breathing. Notice your body. Just notice. The first step is noticing. Okay. Is there anything in particular that may have contributed to your current state of hyperarousal? Could be anything. Could be lack of sleep. Could be something that happened during today. It could be a cold that you may be experiencing. Could be a disagreement with someone at work, a neighbour, that has contributed to the fight or flight. What we want is you to self-regulate through fight or flight. Okay. It may help you to write these things down because the act of writing gives us that ability to spectate. We are the writer rather than being involved and feeling like we are compelled to bounce the ball rather than choosing to bounce the ball. And I know the word choose, it's not as simple as it sounds. A lot of factors can contribute to our choice, and choice can be socialized or trigger-based, and then it's not quite a free choice. It's a deeply subconscious learned choice. Have you tried any grounding techniques to help bring you back to a calmer state? So what do you do now, and does anything work for you? Okay. All right. I'm just going to note that down. Okay, so have these techniques worked for you? Okay. One of the important points to remember about hyperarousal or dysregulation or anxiety is that it's a stress response gone wrong, gone awry. So it needs a gentle response, an understanding response. So in some ways you need to be your own best friend. Give yourself the softness, the safe space to fall within this situation. Allow yourself the time and space to learn a skill, to practice that skill, and sometimes for the development of that skill not to go to plan. This is about you being okay. I want you to be okay. I believe in you. I know you can do this, and I know it's not easy, but you've got this. Okay, are you feeling okay so far? All right, we'll proceed. Grounding techniques, you've talked about what you've done with grounding, can be helpful in reducing anxiety and reducing that hyper-focal state where we're ruminating and going over and over something. Rumination, or thinking with concentration repetitively about something, in some situations can help. Rumination in itself, when it's like a mouse running on a treadmill, can further heighten. So it's a matter of coming out of that state and re-regulating yourself. Sometimes when we name simple things, so we're really worried about X, but in order to manage X, we come into the present. So we look at our sensory surrounds and we say, this is a cup. It's a blue cup. There's a stripe on it. It's a porcelain. It's beautiful. It's full of warm coffee. The coffee is comforting. I'm sitting quietly. I'm enjoying the light in this space. I can hear birds in the distance. Focus on one sense at a time. Because a hyper-arousal state can solve an issue in a short period of time, but can't be sustained. We need to self-regulate before we solve. I'll say that one more time. We need to self-regulate before we solve. We need to come out of hyper-arousal before we feel peace. One of the things about hyper-arousal is that it can often bring brain fog and a lack of clarity, forgetfulness, and quick reactions, which can bring feelings of shame and guilt. Shame and guilt, they're not going to serve you here. Throw them out with the rest of the paper, because you matter. You matter. Okay, let's continue. We're summarising everything now. In future sessions, we'll go into this in greater detail. But notice my focus on simplifying, slowing down, minimising. Understand that your body has become hyper-aroused. The only way to bring hyper-arousal, dysregulation back is bring it back to one focus, one sense at a time. Okay. Are there any self-care activities or hobbies that help you relax and unwind? Can you describe a time where you were involved in a craft or an activity that helped you feel calm? Could you describe it to me? What was it about this activity that calmed you down? I'd like you, if you don't mind, to take a moment and concentrate on this activity. Consider this activity. What did it smell like? What are the aromas? What are the sounds? What are the textures? This activity doesn't have to be an exciting activity. It might be crocheting, maybe gardening, though I find gardening pretty exciting. Often there is solace to be found. There is joy to be found in the simple. Okay. I want you to take a couple of moments and describe to me how this activity brings you a sense of calm. Notice now your heart rate. Notice your breathing. Notice your body. Now your heart rate may still be elevated. Your breathing may still lack a sense of rhythm. There may be areas of your body that hold stress or tension. That's okay. We are the noticer today. You are a student of your body. You are the learner. Feel comfort in that learning phase. After the session today, I'd like you to write down 3 activities that bring you calm. And I want you to spend about 4 minutes with each activity in your mind, mindfully concentrating on the activity and what brings you calm about each activity. It might be something like having a beautiful red crunchy apple in front of you and eating it. So you can imagine you're holding the crunchy apple. You look at the texture of the apple and you notice the beautiful detail and colours upon the skin. Perhaps there's a stalk attached and a leaf. What does the leaf look like? What is the detail upon the leaf? Notice. And when you have noticed, I want you to imagine biting into that apple slowly. Listen to the crunch. Feel the crunch and notice how your body feels when you crunch that apple. Chew the apple slowly. You are not thinking about the next bite. You are thinking about the present bite. The crunching, what happens to the apple when you crunch it? Notice the chewing and then notice the swallow of the apple. Experience that apple. Notice your breathing, notice your body without judgment. This may take time, and that's okay. That's okay. Remember, this is your body's stress response. Your body thinks it's helping you. It needs to be redirected a little. There's your homework. You've talked about seeing professional advice. That is awesome that you're doing so. Continue with that. Let me know how you go. Having a team on your side, trusted individuals you can speak with, share with, and a professional is great. Remember with trauma that sometimes we need to share our trauma. That's important to share our story. Every time we share our story, our body doesn't know the difference. Our body is re-traumatized. Now, I'm not saying we don't share our story. There's times it's important and pertinent to share your story. Just be the observer and say to yourself, how do I feel after I share my story? Do I feel less burdened? Do I feel calmer? Or is it not so helpful? Be the observer of your own body and mind. Map yourself out. Map out your responses softly and gently with self-care. Okay. I want you to imagine now a space, a place. It could be your favourite chair in the garden, where you sit in the garden, or perhaps sitting in the kitchen with the sun shining down on your face. Perhaps it's in the lounge room, perhaps it's at the beach, perhaps it's sitting by a lake. This is a fairly simple place. It is a calming place. I want you to imagine yourself seated or lying down in that space. And focus on the ambience. Concentrate and practice creating this space. In this space, you're safe. In this space, you can self-regulate. In this space, you come out of hyperarousal and you regulate yourself so that your responses are appropriate You feel clear-minded, focused, and at ease. You have the ability to respond, but your response is appropriate rather than hyper-aroused or dysregulated or agitated. Imagine the space. Breathe. Allow yourself the pattern of breath you have now. See the space. What can you see? Listen. What can you hear? Touch something in this space. It may be a tree trunk, it may be water, it may be a favourite blanket that you've put around your shoulders. Touch a texture. This texture gives you comfort. Perhaps you can say to yourself, at times I feel anxiety, yet I can create this space, I can visit this space and self-regulate. I cope, I am resilient, I am okay. I create this safe space. In this safe space, I can cope. I can self-regulate. I can think clearly. I am okay. I will be okay. Okay. Another couple of points I wanted to make. Often journaling and writing down your thoughts or using art therapy can help. Progressive meditation allows you to observe in your body what part of your body is holding the stress, expressing the stress, the anxiety, and go to that place. Firstly, listen. No, go to that place and release. We've gone through a lot of information today. That's not what it's about. This is about you creating the tools which suit you. This is a practice. This is not about doing yoga every single day. This is about doing bite-sized pieces of mindfulness, movement, and self-awareness that suit you. Part of the journey is developing skills in compassion and resilience. People talk about finding peace. It's not about finding peace. As human beings, we always need the ability to respond to stress. It's how we respond to stress and how we re-regulate. When we have experienced a trauma, we can be catapulted into a sense of hyperarousal. The body does this to serve us. It doesn't really help. Coming out of it takes time. It's a process of softly, gently, self-kindness, self-care, and compassion for others. Always practicing compassion for others to remember we're a member of the community and to tap into our creation of oxytocin. When we produce oxytocin, we heal ourselves in most situations. When we finish this session, I'd like you to have a little rest and write down how you feel. Be aware that you are the master, the captain of your ship, and sometimes your ship can be in a cyclone or in stormy waters, but you are the captain for a reason, and you can do this. No matter what another person has done, no matter what other people a person has said, judged, labelled, held opinions. You are resilience. You are resilient. You can do this. I believe in you. Now, we've gone through a lot. Take a moment after this to kind of redirect yourself. Maybe do some gardening, have a glass of water, go for a walk. Give yourself a mental, mindful break, and then practice some of these skills because you're